Hey there everyone! Diminishing returns is a topic I often see misunderstood, so in this video I will quickly explain what it actually is and how it works. Per definition, diminishing returns are proportionally smaller profits derived from an increasing investment. However, for the context of ESO or even video games in general, we need to distinguish between two types of diminishing returns, and I think this is where a lot of people get confused. So there are natural diminishing returns caused by the interaction of factors with different mathematical behavior. And then there are artificial diminishing returns that are built into the factors themselves. Character stats in ESO do not have artificial diminishing returns or soft caps. They either have a hard cap like critical chance, which can't exceed 100%, or an effective cap like penetration, which is technically not capped, but the effective cap depends on the target's resistances. Or no cap at all, which is actually true for many stats in the game. I think that's rather simple. It is really just about knowing it. However, natural diminishing returns are what we really need to understand. So in ESO, different character stats have different mathematical behaviors. We have base stats, such as magicka, spell damage or health, and percent modifiers, such as critical chance, critical damage, or penetration. Because the percent modifiers are multiplicative towards the base stats, having higher base stats increases the effectiveness of percent modifiers. And in return, higher percent modifiers increase the effectiveness of the base stats. Put simple, balanced setups are usually more effective, and focusing heavily on one stat will cause natural diminishing returns because the increasing relative effectiveness of the other stats is wasted. Magicka and spell damage, or stamina and weapon damage, are however additive and do not build up diminishing returns towards each other, so prioritizing one can indeed be more effective. To determine which stats we want, we need to know their relative effectiveness in our build, so we need a common denominator, which we can get in ESO by breaking down all stats to effective spell damage, effective weapon damage, or effective health. This is done by multiplying a percent modifier by the effective value it scales upon. Doing this yourself requires a good understanding of how ESO's damage and healing calculations work. I instead recommend using the UESP ESO build calculator, but all formulas you would need to do your own calculations can also be found at UESP. Also, keep in mind that for any calculations in ESO, you always need to use the actual values during a representative combat scenario, and not the game's character sheet, as they differ massively with procs, group support, and so on. In order to get these values as a PC player, you can record fights that are representative of what you usually do with combat metrics or ESO logs and check your stats and uptimes. Console players unfortunately need to take the stats from their character sheets and add rough estimates of all the additional effects they would usually get manually. So that was how diminishing returns work and how you can easily incorporate them, or rather avoid them, in your build. Links to the build editor, add-ons, and logs can be found in the video description. For further information on how stat calculations in ESO work, I highly recommend the On Point Combat Basics videos by Maisel, also linked in the description. So I hope this short guide was understandable and useful. Thank you for watching.